Hey, what's up, Cardfighters? Archangel 7 with Genesis Gaming, and today is a very special video. 5 tips that can help you improve your deck building skills with Cardfight Vanguard. Now, a lot of these tips are going to be transferable to other TCGs, but for the purpose of this video, it's strictly going to be for Vanguard. Let's get started. Alright, so the first tip is going to be decide whether the deck you are building is going to be for competitive play or casual play. Deciding whether or not the deck you are playing is going to be competitive or casual is going to give you a certain mindset when you're playing the deck, and it's going to give you an expectation for when you're playing the deck. That's really important because it keeps you from getting discouraged if your deck doesn't do as well as you wanted it to. It's also going to limit the amount of cards that you can use to build your deck, because if you're going for a competitive theme, not every card is viable at that level of competition, so you can only use the best cards at your disposal. So it really limits the way that you're able to build your deck. As to where casual play, you can use any cards from the clan that you're playing and just have a lot of fun with it. Take the Sting Blaster deck list, for example. This has been proven to be really strong, very competitive, and really consistent. Has a ton of blaster names that can be superior called and gain power bonuses. Has a blaster blade that can restand thanks to the Flogo trigger, and a multi-standing Vanguard. 8 crit, 4 draw. It's a really hard deck to compete against. Now let's take a look at the casual Sting Blaster deck that I put together. Notice anything different? For starters, the Margot draw trigger has now been replaced by a Flogo stand trigger, and we're missing a Blaster Blade Seeker and a Blaster Blade Spirit, who have both been replaced by Barkle. This doesn't change the deck too much. It still can pretty much do the same thing, but having fewer blaster names and fewer units that we can actually attack with makes the deck a little less consistent and more gimmicky. The stand triggers does help with offense, but this deck does need the draws for defense. That's why this will be considered more of a casual build than a competitive build. The next tip is to invest in a clan. Vanguard has over 24 clans, and within each of them is hundreds of cards. By investing in a clan, you get access to all the cards that that clan has to offer, which will further diversify the way that you're able to build your decks. The next tip is to be able to tell whether or not a card is good in a combo, or if it's just bad. So what makes a card good? A good card is judged based on the amount of conditions that you have to meet in order to make that card do what it's supposed to do. Take a look at Majesty Lord Blaster. He has a continuous Vanguard ability. If you have a card named Blaster Blade and a card named Blaster Dark in your soul, this unit gets 2000 power and +1 critical. You also have an auto Vanguard ability. Choose a unit named Blaster Blade and a unit named Blaster Dark from your rear, put them into your soul. When this unit attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, this unit gets 10,000 power until the end of that battle. While Majesty Lord Blaster is a very iconic card and he's loved by many, we have to be honest, he's really not a good card. There's just way too many conditions for him to have to fill in order to do what he needs to do, and it's just not viable in the current meta. Thingsaver Dragon, on the other hand, is a good card. He has the Legion ability, which allows you to put 4 cards from your drop zone back into your deck and then perform Legion with Blaster Blade Seeker. Then he has an auto Vanguard ability. Counterblast 2 and Soul Blast 3, and choose 2 cards from your hand and discard them. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked a Vanguard, if this unit is in Legion, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 card named Seeker Thingsaver Dragon and ride it as stand. Shuffle your deck, choose a card named Blaster Blade Seeker from your soul, and Legion. Its last auto Vanguard ability is when this unit attacks a Vanguard, this unit gets 2000 power until the end of battle. It's a night and day difference from Majesty Lord Blaster to Seeker Thingsaver Dragon. While Majesty Lord has tons of conditions that you have to meet, and the payouts aren't even that great in the end, Thingsaver Dragon's conditions autofill themselves just by playing the game. The 2 counterblasts that you need are going to be obtained by taking damage as you should in the game. The 3 in the soul is going to be obtained by writing grades 1, 2, and having a grade 0 in the soul as well. And the 2 cards that you have to discard can be obtained through your drive check. So his skills are just going to autofill itself, making him a really good card because he really doesn't have any conditions to meet. So I've shown you a bad card and a good card. But what about combo cards? Combo cards are a little bit tricky, and it requires you to really know what you're doing when you're building a deck. That's why it's important to know whether or not a card is good, bad, or if it is a combo piece. The reason they are tricky because a combo card can look absolutely useless in print, but when coupled with a certain counterpart, it can become very viable and really good in play. Let's take a look at some combo pieces. So the first combo piece we'll look at is Flavored Pupil of Light and Dark Blue, Blaster Friend Barco, Floral Paladin Flogel, and Blaster Blade. This is one of the more obvious combo pieces because the cards actually name the other cards in its text. A more subtle combo piece comes out of Genesis with the Angelic Wiseman. It's from BT14, which is quite old, but it has an auto Vanguard and Rearguard ability. Soul Blast 3. When this unit attacks, if you have a Genesis Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, this unit gets 4,000 power until the end of that battle. This card has never seen play up until the new support from GBT08. It's a 10k body, and its skill was just never needed. There were other more important things to Soul Blast for. Now with the new Genesis stand trigger, this card becomes absolutely amazing because its skill allows it to Soul Blast the stand trigger, put the stand trigger to the bottom of the deck, and re-stand him. And every time he attacks, he's going to get that 4,000 power bonus, which is absolutely fantastic. Makes it a really good combo. But like I said, it hasn't been played ever. So to be able to see that this is a combo, it takes a lot of skill to figure that out. The next tip is pretty basic, but it's very important and it can definitely help you build better decks. And that's to find a win condition. A win condition is a vision of how your deck is going to win against an opponent in any given matchup. Thingsaver Dragon is a really strong win condition. His ability to multi-stand is enough to put most decks out of commission. And because he's such a strong win condition, it makes a lot of sense to build your deck around him. He requires a Counterblast 2, which is pretty easy to obtain, but the Soul Blast 3 is a little bit different. In order to get him to stand the max amount of time, you need at least 5 cards in the Soul. So you'd want to add in cards like Margot and cards like Lou to build your Soul for Thingsaver to stand the maximum amount of time, making him a huge threat. So the last and final tip, and the most important out of all 5, is to make sure that you practice. Any deck idea that you come up with is simply a concept until you play test it to see how it works against other decks, to see how it works against certain clans, or even certain types of players with different playstyles. It's hard to stress how important play testing is, but I'm sure you guys get the point. If you're not able to always play with a friend, then it's a good idea to sit at home and just kind of draw into hands, see what kind of cards that you draw into, see what plays that you can get on what turns, and that's going to help you overall learn how the deck is operating and functioning, and it might even show you something that you might need to change in the deck. Competitive, casual, clan investment, good cards, bad cards, win conditions, and play testing. Once you learn all these aspects, it's going to help you to become a much better deck builder in Cardfight Vanguard. Though these aren't the only ways to improve your deck building skills, they're a great start. I'd like to add one more thing, kind of a bonus tip if you will. This tip won't really help you improve your deck building skills per se, but I think it's the most important aspect when building a deck in Cardfight Vanguard, and that's to have fun. Play what you want to play. Build any goofy deck that you want to build. Just have a good time with it. Vanguard's a lot more fun if you're playing with something that's original to you and something that you worked hard on putting together and you're having a great time playing. Well, that wraps up this little video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope it was informative, and if you did enjoy this video, please go ahead and triple drive that like button for me. Be sure to subscribe for more content, and I'll catch you guys next time.